Okay, so in this video we're going to be looking at why consistency and persistency are the key factors to change. So without further ado, let's get into it. Hi and welcome to Outlaw Door. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Claire Attio. For those that are returning subscribers, thank you. For those that are new, welcome in. So consistency and persistency, and why it's so important when we are trying to create change. On a psychological level, we have habits and patterns that our subconscious is used to. It's like learning to drive the car. When you first learn to drive a car, you're always checking in the mirror, you're checking your gears, have you done this, have you done that? It's in the conscious mind, you're checking yourself because it is something new that you have learned, and so you have to double check yourself. You bring it into that conscious mind. And yet when you've been driving a few years, you shove it into gear, you check your mirrors, you pull out, you go down the road, you stop at the lights, you do, and it's all on automatic. It's in that subconscious mind. It's become a habit. You have learned it, and it's now a habit. And so when we're making change, we need to be consistent and persistent so that we can make that change, whatever that change be, a habit. We program the subconscious mind so it knows what it's doing, and it does it automatically without conscious thought. That's one reason why we need to be consistent and persistent. The other thing is because we are trying to remap, we're drawing a new roadmap in our brains, as it were. The default, and as you know when you're using computers, it will always try to go back to default, especially when something happens. If you add another program to the computer, it will try and take you back to its default. And so we want to make the new roadmap, we want to make the new information the default. And so we have to be persistent and consistent with that. The third thing is when we're making changes, we can have an idea of what that change should be, should look like, could look like, what we're trying to create, how we want that end result to be, and what that can look like. And we may need to make slight adjustments. Again, like tapping in a program to a computer. For those of you that have made websites, you think, oh, that'll look good. And then when you go into the front end, you kind of look at it and go, no, that doesn't work as I wanted it to. And so you have to go back into the back end and you need to reconfigure. That's another reason why we need to be persistent and excuse me. That's another reason why we need to be persistent and consistent, is so that we can do a little bit, check it. Is that functioning? Not quite the way we want to. Yes, it is functioning, but it does need tweaking a bit, and we go back and we change a few things, and then we go in and have a look at it again. Is that working now? Is that going to get me the results I want? Other times it can be trial and error. It is making those adjustments again. It's doing something, leaving it for a week, a month, a few months, and then going, okay, did that give me the results I wanted? No, it gave me some, but it didn't give me all of them. It kind of worked for that area, but didn't work for that area. And so you make those changes, and that is why we're consistent and persistent. We're not just doing it and leaving it and expecting the change and the outcome of that change to be as we imagined. We have to keep showing up for it to get it as we truly desire it. One aspect within coaching that isn't looked at very often with that consistency and persistency is the consistency and persistency of checking in with ourselves. Is that original desire of that change still the same? Because as we grow, as we develop, so do our ideas, so do what we're wanting to gain. So we may have an idea, okay, I need to change this because this really isn't functioning for me. That can be the first reason why we make that change. So let's take dieting. Everybody kind of knows the dieting one. You know, we want to make changes in our diet because we want to lose weight. Fine, okay, that's it. And then we start to lose the weight, and then we realise that actually with the weight loss, our body shape isn't the way we want it. So do we still focus on that changing our diet? Or do we need to go back in and change it a little bit and include the exercise and the body toning that we need so that we get the desired body shape, as well as being slimmer, weighing less? And so this is why it's important to have that persistency and consistency, because our desired outcomes as we grow, as we develop, as we start to manifest the existence of these changes into our lives, will change. Because when they show up, we think, yeah, okay, that is what I desired, that is what I asked for, that is what I've manifested through my work. But I would also like it to do X, Y, Z. We wouldn't be able to reflect on that, I would also like it to do X, Y, Z, if we didn't have that persistency and consistency of checking in with ourselves. It's also helpful with that consistency and persistency to know what it is you want to feel about it. And I say that because today, videoing this, for example, yesterday was a day in England we had horrific storms in the West Country, and unfortunately because of that my electricity was out all day. And it meant that I couldn't do the recording, and today I'm supposed to be on a retreat day for myself. And because I have committed to doing these videos and to putting out 2 videos every week, the videos, taking the time and recording these videos became my priority. It's that consistency and persistency. And some people will say, oh, well, it doesn't matter. And no, for some people it wouldn't matter because their priorities would be different from mine. But I committed to doing 2 videos per week. There are some weeks where I have had to skip because life has thrown me some curveballs, and hey, that's life. But when I can keep that commitment, then I am committed to that commitment. It's that persistency and that consistency. There will be other people that say, yeah, but didn't you commit to the retreat day? Yes, I did commit to the retreat day, but my commitment to doing these videos was a long time before I committed to doing the retreat days. And so I had to make a decision that aligned with me, aligned with what I find and feel is important for me at the time. And that will change. Obviously, there will be some days where I would go, oh, I can do those videos in this time and I can still go on that retreat day. Being the time of year that it is, the schedule doesn't have a lot of space in it. And so I had to relinquish that retreat day. It's all about making your priorities and making peace with those priorities. For all intents and purposes, people could say, well, you don't have a very big following, Claire, why is it so important? It's important because, okay, yeah, I don't have a very big following, and there's some times where the videos are already watched 2, 3, 4, 5 times. The views aren't important. I find these videos cathartic for myself as well. It allows me to keep myself accountable. The things that I talk about, the journey that I've been on, helps me to ensure that I'm checking in with myself. And also, before I do the videos, I always do a meditation. And so I know by doing the 2 videos and the podcast, I will, in any given week, have at least 3 meditations. As it is, I've got a practice now that has become habitual where I meditate every night before I go to bed. But that's besides the point. For these videos, it's not just about meditation, it's about connecting to Divine Source for me. And in doing that, it allows me to reflect where I am. It allows me to reflect on my journey. And it highlights areas that I found beneficial, that have occurred in my life that I found beneficial, that I share. And hopefully somebody else finds them beneficial as well. If they don't, they don't. I don't have any attachment. It's not about the views. If it touches a person's life, fantastic. If nobody views it, fantastic. It's not my drive. For other people, it will be their drive. And so they make sure that the videos are produced properly, and they make sure it goes out and it hits the right numbers, and they look in, they monitor, and blah, 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 blah. That is not my priority. My priority is to share my experiences. And if that people find that helpful, they find it helpful. But I have no attachment to that, because what I get from making these videos far outweigh the need for the views. And so for me, it is important to keep that persistency and consistency within the videos there. Change is all about having that commitment to that change and being fluid with that change. When we set goals, I like to set intentions, because I find personally that goals put a lot of pressure on me. I call them intentions, each of us to our own. But when we set out to make change, then we put X amount of intentions into that. And it's about following through and reassessing and making them habitual. I know when I've not done these videos. I can feel it when I've not done these videos. Because that sitting down, that connection to the divine and going, right, okay, what have I got to talk about today? What's happened that I can express in a way that will help me and cement my understanding, but also possibly touch the life of another. And when I'm in that communication with divine, I do get that cementing of the learning of my own journey. And that has been profound and very empowering. So I ask you, what changes are you wanting to make? Why are you wanting to make them? And how are you going to maintain the persistency and the consistency to ensure you bring those into reality? If you like the video, then hit that like button. If you haven't yet subscribed, then please subscribe. If what you've heard you feel a friend could do with listening to, then by all means please share it. Until next time, beautiful souls, love to you all.